Have you ever noticed how a calm mind can really set the stage for a good night's sleep? That's the idea behind our new podcast, Good Sleep. Greg, our host from Optimal Relationships Daily, is here to help ease you into a peaceful night's rest with some positive affirmations. And these affirmations aren't just comforting. They can help ease anxiety and nurture positive thoughts, setting you up for true good sleep. So press play on Good Sleep tonight, because a good tomorrow starts with a good night's sleep. Just search for Good Sleep in your podcast app and be sure to pick the one from Optimal Living Daily. This is Optimal Finance Daily, episode 2480, 3 Different Lanes to Financial Independence for Early Career Workers by Erik Carter with financialfinesse.com. And I'm your host and personal finance enthusiast, Diana Merriam. Now let's get right to today's post as we optimize your life. 3 Different Lanes to Financial Independence for Early Career Workers by Erik Carter with financialfinesse.com. You've heard the cliche. When it comes to saving for retirement, young people have time on their side. The earlier they start saving, the better. So what would happen if you started saving for retirement at age 22? A lot can happen in the years between, but here's a look at 3 different retirement roadmaps that a 22-year-old earning $50,000 a year with no raises and earning an 8% average annualized return on their investments might take. The slow lane. How you'd save. In the slow lane, let's say you contribute 6% to your 401k to get your employer's full 3% match. You'd retire at age 65 with $1,678,104. Yes, you're a millionaire. But before you get too excited, that would only be about $716,000 in today's dollars, assuming a 2% inflation rate. What that will look like in retirement. Using a 4% withdrawal rate, that 401k would produce about $29,000 of annual income. You would also receive about $15,000 in Social Security benefits at age 65, or about $11,000 if we factor in Social Security's projected shortfall. Your total income would be $40,000, or about 80% of your current income, which is in the range of what most retirement experts figure the average retiree will need. What to do if you're getting your match but don't think you're on track? If you're getting your match but think that a comfortable retirement is out of reach, you may be underestimating the power of compound interest over long time periods and may actually be on track to retirement. On the other hand, it's more likely that you got a later start and didn't start saving up to your match at 22. The best way for you to find out is to run a retirement calculator and see if you're on track. If not, you can see how much more you would need to save to get on track. This all sounds okay, but who wants to drive in the slow lane and work until 65? The center lane. How you'd save. In the center lane, you would max out an HSA or health savings account and contribute 10% to your 401k with a 1% automatic annual increase. You retire at age 55 with $1,937,807. In today's dollars, that would be about $1 million, or enough to produce $40,000 of income, which hits that magical 80% mark even without the Social Security benefits you would later receive. How to make it happen. To make this happen, you would need to be eligible for an HSA by choosing a high deductible health insurance plan, which are becoming increasingly common. It also makes sense to try to max it out after getting the match in the 401k, because the money goes to an HSA pre-tax, can be invested and grow tax deferred, and can then be taken out tax-free for qualified medical expenses. No other account has that triple tax benefit. Finally, you would need to use the HSA as a retirement account by not dipping into it even for medical expenses. One other note about HSAs, in addition to tax-free distributions for medical expenses in retirement, including Medicare and long-term care insurance premiums, you can also take taxable distributions without penalty for non-medical purposes starting at age 65. That is, it can be another source of retirement income. Things to think about in the center lane. There are a couple of possible concerns with retiring early, though. First, you would need to cover the cost of health insurance until qualifying for Medicare at age 65. But with access to the Affordable Care Act exchanges, this shouldn't be too much of a problem. In fact, if you have tax-free money in a Roth account, you can qualify for higher health insurance subsidies since eligibility is based on taxable income. This brings us to the second potential issue. Isn't there a 10% penalty on retirement plan withdrawals before age 59 and a half? Yes, but there's also an exception that as long as you work until the year you turn age 55 or older, you can withdraw money from your then current employer's 401k with no penalties. This doesn't apply to a prior employer's 401k or IRAs, so keep that in mind before you roll money into one. The fast lane. How you'd save. As exciting as retiring at 55 sounds, how about retiring at 50? In the fast lane, you would max out both your HSA and your 401k. At age 50, you would have $2,111,194, or about $1.2 million in today's dollars, in retirement. That produces 97% of your working salary, plus you'd still get Social Security later. To avoid early withdrawal penalties, you can take substantially equal periodic payments under Rule 72T until age 59 and a half. Of course, the challenge to driving in the fast lane is being able to save that much. The key is to max out those accounts before you even have a chance to spend that money and live on the rest of your income. If that sounds impossible, keep in mind that lots of people are living on much less. Things to think about in the fast lane. The hardest part is potentially having to downscale your standard of living. This is where being 22 years old really has an advantage. After all, you may have just been recently living with no income at all in a dorm room or in your parents' home, so less of an adjustment might be needed. Finally, keep in mind that our calculations assumed no raises, which is probably not realistic, especially for someone so young in their career. That means any income from raises or promotions could be used to finance a growing lifestyle. The upside for delaying that lifestyle is being financially independent at age 50 and having an extra 15 years to do whatever you want. In the meantime, your extra savings would provide a greater level of financial security and freedom. So if you're just getting started in your career, which lane will you drive in? Do you want to take the slow and easy approach to retire comfortably at age 65? Would you rather drive a little faster to retire early at 55? Or are you up to the challenge of life in the fast lane? You just listened to the post titled 3 Different Lanes to Financial Independence for Early Career Workers by Erik Carter with financialfinesse.com. Labor strikes, climate change, your beat up office printer. What do they all have in common? Come on, it's all about the money. Economics is everywhere and everything fueling our lives, even where we least expect it. If you're a fan of Optimal Finance Daily and are curious to learn something new and exciting about economics every week, I recommend you listen to the Planet Money podcast from NPR. Planet Money is a different kind of world where the complex economy actually makes sense, where human stories supersede abstract theories. Listeners can learn, laugh, and be entertained. It's econ, down to earth, and Planet Money answers some of life's burning questions, like, will AI take over our jobs? Why are Christmas trees so darn expensive? The Planet Money team lives to tell a good story in around 30 minutes. It's econ for the rest of us. Tune into Planet Money every week for entertaining stories and insights about how money shapes our world, stories that can't be found anywhere else. Listen now to Planet Money from NPR, wherever you get your podcasts. Thinking back to when I was 22, I personally envisioned a future where my income would soar, making saving and investing appear effortless at some vague, distant time. This post feels so familiar, echoing the recurrent theme in personal finance content, trade-offs and deferred gratification. You've probably encountered those number crunching exercise that goes something like this. If you don't splurge on X and instead invest it, you'll amass Y in 30 years. In essence, these statements convey the concept of opportunity cost and the compelling magic of compound interest to nudge people towards spending less and investing more. Since a quarter of American adults have no retirement nest egg, any encouragement to save and invest is undeniably valuable. However, I believe a more compelling approach to advocate for saving and investing isn't merely centered on future wealth accumulation. It's about recognizing the immediate perks. Personally, not squandering my money on extravagant material possessions grants me immense peace of mind right now. With fewer costly possessions, I have fewer items to clean, maintain, and safeguard. Plus, replacing lost, stolen, or damaged items is a breeze. And by front-loading my retirement savings during my peak earning years, I've set the stage to relax in my 30s and savor a reduced workload. These benefits are tangible and happening in the present. For those like me who aren't particularly swayed by the allure of delayed gratification, I hope you find inspiration in considering the ways you can derive immediate benefits from spending wisely and investing wisely. And that'll do it for today. Have a great day and start to your weekend if you're listening in real time. And I'll be back here over the weekend where your optimal life awaits.